next to me. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners public hearing for this Tuesday, May 20th, 2025. It's 3:30 p.m. We have all board members present. Commissioner Mejia, Vice Chair Fournier, my name is Ty Menzer, the Chair, Commissioner Grant, Commissioner Klaus, as well as County Manager Leonard Hernandez and Assistant County Manager Josh Cummings. We are here regarding Thurston County Code 2.104, regulating disposition of public property for affordable housing. The purpose of this public hearing is to accept and consider public testimony on the ordinance amending Thurston County Code 2.104 to regulate disposition of public property for affordable housing in accordance with RCW 3933.015. This is a hybrid public hearing. Those wishing to testify have joined by Zoom, emailed in comment, or mailed in comment. If you wish to testify, please visit the Thurston County homepage online and select BOCC meetings, hearings, and work session agendas. The information to join this public hearing remotely is posted there. If you do not wish to testify but would like to listen and follow along, please watch the live stream through the Thurston County YouTube channel to help us manage attendance. Rick Thomas, Capital Projects Planning Manager, will provide background information on this topic. Assuming anyone on Zoom wishes to testify, you do not need to sign up in any particular way. I will read your name aloud. Each speaker will have 4 minutes to testify. Time may not be given to another person. When you are called on, please state your name and address for the record. Okay, we are opening our public hearing, and I will call for Rick to provide background information, summarize any written comments submitted, and provide any additional information requested by the board.
Chair, as Rick gets set up, I just wanted to provide a quick high-level overview of how we got to this decision before you today. About 9 months ago, Homes First came and provided me as a new county manager an update. It was the executive director, Trudy Scope, and we had a great meeting. As part of that meeting, she mentioned and asked if I was aware of properties that the county owned, but Homes First had been using for, I believe it's a couple of decades. And I said I wasn't, because I was fairly new, a few months into the job. And what she began to describe to me is the interaction between our two entities and the jurisdiction as a county and Homes First as a nonprofit, and how that ownership arrangement created some impact for Homes First, some negative impact. And so I thanked her, went and did some research with staff, and come to find out that as part of our agreement for these two properties, if the county were ever to want to end its agreement with Homes First, that we would have to do two things. First, we would have to move out, I think it's 11 families that live on the property, which wouldn't be advantageous or beneficial to anyone. But two, the county would have to pay for the improvements back to Homes First at a considerable amount of money. And at that point, I reached back out to the executive director and mentioned that that arrangement didn't make sense. And there was an openness for us to explore transitioning the ownership, because in that situation, it would be very beneficial for Homes First to actually have ownership of not only the facilities, but also of the land itself. And so went to staff and began a conversation about how do we do this, which sounded like a simple procedural thing, ended up in a 9-month journey. I want to thank staff for their hard work, because they really trailblazed to come up with a solution and how do we deal with this specific situation. And I think absent this specific situation, we probably wouldn't be here having this discussion with you, as we know that other county properties are very valuable to the county and are considered assets, and we're not necessarily in the place of wanting to take any direction, or nor has the board given any direction to start to move these properties out of the county's inventory. So I'm going to pass over to Rick Thomas, but I do want to thank Rick Thomas and his team, Joshua Cummings, and all the staff that have been involved to try to work this through and find a solution. It was, I believe, our internal auditor that said the county actually has to have a process before we just bring this item. I think it was making its way to the board in an agenda item. And we realized that the disposition of property had to have a unique process that we would have to sketch out. And that's when they went back to the drawing board and came up with this approach. And so with that, Rick, thanks for allowing me to just give a little bit of context as to the uniqueness of this. The fact that we believe this is a specific tool to achieve a goal that would greatly benefit one of our partners and nonprofits in our community that do amazing work. Over to you, Rick.
Okay, thank you, County Manager, and good afternoon, Commissioners. Before I jump right into the informational part of it, I just wanted to note that this public hearing was posted in the Nisqually Valley News on May the 8th and May the 15th, and we did receive 3 written testimonies before. So the proposed ordinance to amendment to the Thurston County Chapter 2.104 was fully vetted through our county legal counsel and is based specifically on RCW 39.33.105, transfer lease disposal of public property for affordable housing. Paragraph 1 of that RCW states that any state agency, municipality, or political subdivision with authority to dispose of surplus public property may transfer, lease, or otherwise dispose of such property for a public benefit purpose. This update to the Thurston County Code will provide alignment with state law and flexibility to the Board of County Commissioners to partner with entities in service to our community. Comments received on this ordinance have generally been in 2 different camps, positive and expressing concern. In the positive, we have received input from trusted community partners as this action will help further goals for housing affordability in Thurston County. In the camp of concern, we have received input associating this action with the tax title process covered in RCW 36.35 and the Thurston County Code 2.105. This update does not impact the tax title properties. Tax title properties are not owned by the county. They're held in trust. Therefore, they are not eligible for surplus under this proposed amendment. The other general concern is that disposition of properties may not have input from the community before the board takes action. All future potential dispositions will follow the standard board approval process of multiple agenda reviews, opportunity for the public to address the board, and board public discussion and deliberation. Currently, a notification period and process is not written into this regulation, but at the discretion of the board, this could be amended to align with other standard land use noticing. As a note, if the board passes this update, there will be a unique opportunity to fulfill the request of the community group Homes First to transfer ownership to 2 properties that the county's been leasing to Home First since 2006. These 2 homes have been part of the First Homes portfolio of housing for nearly 2 decades. RCW 39.33.015 authorizes municipalities to transfer, lease, and dispose of surplus public property for public benefit purpose. Public benefit means affordable housing for low-income and very low-income households as defined in RCW 43.63A.510 and related facilities that support the goals of affordable housing development and providing economic and social stability for low-income persons. Surplus property is defined as excess real property that is not required for the needs of or the discharge of responsibilities of the municipality. The transfer, lease, or other disposal may be made to a public, private, or non-governmental body on any mutually agreeable terms and conditions, including a no-cost transfer. RCW 3933015 requires the governing body of the municipality to enact rules to regulate the disposition of property for public benefit purposes. Significant benefit to the general public may be realized through the disposition of surplus property for purposes of affordable housing. This supports the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Thurston County. Here are the salient points of the proposed amendment that is titled Real Property Special Disposition Process for Affordable Housing. This special disposition process would apply here. The county has real property that is surplus to its needs and where transfer of the property would result in a public benefit, but benefits such as, but not limited to, contributing to supply of affordable housing, supporting temporary housing or other response to homelessness, or improving essential public services such as transportation or utilities that support the goals of affordable housing development in providing economic and social stability for low-income persons. The Board of County Commissioners may transfer the surplus real property to an approved public, private, or non-governmental organization for public benefit purposes. They shall consider the public benefit provided and negotiate terms and conditions acceptable to the county. Such a transfer, lease, or other disposal is at the discretion of the board. Consideration must include appraisal cost, debt service, all closing costs, and any other liabilities to the county. Any transfer, lease, or other disposition of property must be consistent with existing locally adopted comprehensive plans. Property may not be transferred, leased, or disposed of if such transfer, lease, or disposal would violate any bond covenant or encumber or impair any contract. A deed, lease, or other instrument transferring or conveying property pursuant to this policy must include a covenant or other requirement that the property shall be used for the designated public benefit purpose, and remedies that apply if the recipient of the property fails to use it for that designated public purpose or ceases to use it for such purpose. Any agreement to transfer county surplus property under this section shall specifically state the purpose and public benefit for which the property will be used. You have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Rick, for that explanation and that background. I'm wondering in terms of the notification, and you said it would follow a similar land use process. I'm wondering if you or Assistant County Manager can go through that process, or the county manager, whoever.
Sure. I think that akin to what we're doing with the tax title properties and the work that we've done to send out the notifications to the neighborhoods when those properties come available is something that we can easily implement in this situation to make sure that when there's a property, and if there's a property that comes available, that we're doing a noticing. Now, to speak to the land use approach, I'll allow Josh to kind of comment on that.
There are multiple options for the board to consider, which is why in the statement, it's discretionary for the Board of County Commissioners to consider other noticing options that we have. But we didn't want to box in any options until we had this conversation with the board.
Thank you. So the board could decide to have either a public hearing or the notification process similar to the tax title properties.
Correct?
Yep. And because of the, we believe this will be a few and far between kind of situation, staff would be very supportive of having more noticing and more community outreach than less in this situation, so that this doesn't catch anyone unaware.
I think that would be important. Kind of like I'm looking at Josh, didn't we build some kind of specially crafted notice requirement into our wireless communication code update?
Right. Yep. So this would be similar to that. The board talked about the number of houses and miles out from the proposed location. Again, this is at the discretion of the board.
So what we could do, commissioners, is come up with some recommendations similar to the conversation we had with the tax title properties, and then bring that back at a work session. You give direction to staff, and then we'll make that part of this process.
Other questions? Nope, okay, thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Let's get on to public comment. We have Kim Kelly up first with Mary Ann Tompkins on deck.
Good afternoon, Chair Menser and Commissioners. Thank you so much for the opportunity to comment on the proposed ordinance to transfer surplus public property for affordable housing. I really like what I just heard. I think that really satisfies the extra notification that you're talking about and will consider. Should satisfy most of my concerns. This is around transfers, but also the one thing that wasn't really covered was the notice around the surplus property determinations, which has been a concern for us for a while, and we've been waiting to see what that process is going to be. I understand it's been under development for a couple years, and that staff is about ready to make suggestions or present that to you guys for decisions on going forward with it. So I just want to quickly, I'm totally thrown off because you satisfied what my concerns for the most part. So I don't want to talk about a lot of stuff that isn't really applicable, but I just still want you to read my comments that I submitted yesterday, consider those fully, consider any unintended consequences of this. I still have some concern that the way the ordinance is written, it might unintentionally open the door for unaffordable housing development on surplus properties, especially if they've been transferred at no or low cost. If you read it on face, it looks like that could happen, that a developer could say, hey, I can develop affordable housing for you. You've got this land here. Why don't you transfer it and for free, and we'll build that so-called affordable housing. I trust that you wouldn't let that happen, but having worked in policy my entire career and looking at what's happening at the federal level with the way that laws have been misinterpreted, disappeared, abused, I'm just concerned, and I appreciate you guys and see you as a guardrail for that happening locally. I raised the issue about affordable housing because of a personal experience I had with a young friend who was a single mother. She was in supposedly subsidized or affordable housing. The owner was allowed to charge 30% of the median household income in Thurston County, which is very high. And if you look at the 80% of that, it's $73,000 a month. She earned $73,000 a year, sorry.
Okay. Good Lord.
My friend earned minimum wage, at that time $13 an hour, or about $2,000 a month. So her rent was 62% of her gross income. That left $780 for food, childcare, car insurance, healthcare, phone, utilities, etc. You guys know this story. Had they been charging an affordable rate of 30% of gross income, which is the definition from what I understand for sort of affordable housing, her rent would have been $624 a month. Needless to say, she was evicted. So really, and I think you all know this, and housing is not my area of expertise, but the people who need affordable housing are people who are earning minimum wage, even up to $30 an hour is really hard, especially with kids. So I hope that safeguards will be built into this, and we will truly support truly affordable housing, especially on any public surplus land. So I don't expect all those answers I submitted to be answered, nor do I want to create work for you or for staff or to slow county business. But I do respectfully request you consider my questions, ensure transparency around surplus property determinations, provide notice, and make absolutely sure that any housing built on transferred lands is truly affordable, and you ensure public notice for transfers and that valuable public lands, particularly forests and critical areas, are not given away for free to entities that might not prioritize the public good or the environment the way that you do. As the saying goes, prevention is worth a pound of cure. Thank you for hearing me and for all you do on behalf of and for the good of the people of Thurston County. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tompkins, followed by Trudy Suka.
Hi, County Commissioners again.
Thanks for sticking around.
Hey, what'd you say?
I said, thanks for sticking.
Oh, yeah,
around.
I know. Goodness. Anyway, I'm Mary Ann Tompkins, and I live in unincorporated Thurston County, and I am a board supervisor with the Conservation District, and I don't represent them today. Have to get that out there. I do want to talk about this draft policy, and Kim basically covered everything, and I do appreciate what staff said today. I 100% support moving surplus property to public benefit rather than selling it to the highest bidder, but it should be on a case-by-case basis. So I'm hoping that that is it, because I don't want to see urban sprawl in our rural lands, and since I work in the district, I see it a lot. So it really should accommodate low-income families where there's already existing infrastructure such as transportation and bus routes, medical, healthcare. And I even said this, that like rural towns, I don't know where your properties are located. I mean, there's no map at this time, but Bakota, Tenino, Rochester, and Rainier, they would really benefit from a proposal like this. But these are properties that should be accessible by automobile. I mean, we don't want anything that's miles from services, because again, then we have to bring services out to our rural lands, and we don't want to see that kind of sprawl. I just want you, if you can, to protect some of these surplus lands when it's feasible for our drinking water and our wildlife, and just what we do on a local level really matters right now. I don't know if you heard, but there's the public lands. They're selling it off. There's a vote at 1 a.m. Wednesday. That's Wednesday, 1 a.m. They're going to vote to sell our public lands. These are lands that help sequester carbon, protect biodiversity, and provide natural infrastructure to buffer our communities against extreme weather events. And then that can happen at a local level as well. So anyway, thank you. Thank you guys for all you do. I really appreciate you.
Is that a congressional act you're
Yes.
talking about?
1 a.m.
Thank you. Trudy Sukup.
Hey, you pronounced it correctly. Thank you. I know there's many people in this room who have challenges with their names, so thank you. Yes, my name is Trudy Sukup. I'm the CEO of Homes First. I've been with the organization almost 14 years, and we've been managing these homes for Thurston County for almost 20 years. And so I'm here on behalf of our staff and our board and our tenants to say thank you for considering doing this. And especially thank you to Leonard, who, yes, I did kind of broadside him. He didn't know what was coming up when I wanted to meet with him. And for Joshua for being so supportive of helping us make this happen. For the last 20 years, we have maintained these homes. One is a home for 8 women in recovery and their children. The other home is a home for 4 adults with developmental disabilities. And we have been maintaining them. We've been putting roofs on them. We've been painting them. We've been landscaping them. When the toilet busted in the basement and we had to redo we took care of all of that. So we've been investing in it year after year. And there are more investments that we would like to do. So we've been super successful putting solar panels on our homes. We're right now putting on number 18, 19, and 20. On 60, we have 61 properties, so we're doing pretty good. We're getting our houses solar paneled. Those 2 homes are in great locations for solar panels as well. But of course, we didn't want to put that investment in when we didn't actually own the properties. So this is going to allow us to continue to invest and continue to invest in our community and ensure that every year those people have a home to live in. It's not been the same people for the last 20 years. Of course, there's turnover. So every year there are people who are going in there who otherwise would not have a place to live. So thank you so much. We appreciate your support. And we're always open to turning more surplus property into more affordable housing. And ours is truly affordable. So guaranteed with Homes First. For the last 35 years, we've never sold a home or charged somebody more than 30% of their income. So thank you.
Thanks, Trudy. Okay. Anyone else? No one on Zoom? So that's the end of public comment. Thank you, everyone, for coming. At this point, we can have a discussion. We can close the public hearing. Sounds like we're gonna maybe, there was interest potentially in adding some notice pieces that weren't already there.
Yes, I would like to add a notice piece, and maybe through a public hearing, not sure which would be the appropriate vehicle. I'm open to discussion on that with the board.
I believe the county manager relayed that we would bring back a couple of options to the board.
Is that acceptable to all
So,
commissioners?
so then we'll close the public hearing, instruct staff to go forward with some additional language to then bring back to us and for further action. Is that,
Sounds like
okay?
Well, I don't want to delay the process as well with Homes First, so would this delay the process with Homes First?
Yes?
Would it adversely affect Homes First if we took a couple more weeks to craft some language? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Trudy.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Public hearing is closed. And now